Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to another video. I'm so excited to announce that I'm finally back in my fantasy era of reading. After being in my romance era for like probably over a year now, I was in a book slump. As you guys know, I talked about that in my last video. The book that brought me out, unsurprisingly, was The Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I know I mentioned that I wanted to read this in my last video and I finally did. Let me tell you, it is worth all of the hype that you see on TikTok, on Instagram. I haven't felt this way about a book in so long. Like since reading ACOTAR, you guys, this is almost, dare I say, better than ACOTAR. Like this is a Court of Mist and Fury level of reading. And I don't say that lightly, like that's really hard for me to say because you guys know how much I love ACOTAR. But truly, it was so incredible and it made me like remember why I love reading like fantasy romance, just because like the stakes are so much higher. And I know I said this in my last video, when I read a lot of romance books back to back to back, like the contemporary romances, I just feel like the tropes are so easy to pick out and they just become really predictable and they all just kind of blend together in my mind. What's fun about the fantasy is that all of these authors come up with like their own worlds, and then you have like the fae and the magical powers and the high stakes. And with this, I just like didn't know what to expect. All I knew was that there were dragons involved. It was just so good. I loved the characters. I loved how like intense the book was, especially towards the end. The middle was a little slow, but like when you start reading, like they just throw you into the plot. And I'm so excited for book 2 to come out in November. Like I need to pre-order that soon because I will definitely be reading it like everybody else. Moving into the book I'm reading right now, I'm actually starting my Throne of Glass era. I have been putting off reading these books for so long. I don't have any physical copies other than like the first Throne of Glass book, which I read, I think I read this last year or the year before, I can't remember. I'm reading The Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel to the Throne of Glass series. It's basically about the main character, Selena. She is the assassin in all the Throne of Glass books. And this is about her life before what happens in like the first Throne of Glass book. So you get to read about like her entire backstory and stuff. Bestie Destiny said that she recommended reading The Assassin's Blade first. And I honestly, because it's a prequel, I was like, I'm just gonna read this first anyways. I don't remember like what the specific like reading order is. This might be like the romantic-y kind of reading order or like the more emotional. I don't really know. Don't like quote me on any of that. Just like look up a reading order and pick whatever you want. But this is the one I'm reading first. I am a little over 100 pages in, so I'm definitely gonna finish reading this in this reading vlog. And then I have Crown of Midnight, which is the second Throne of Glass book other than the prequel. I have that on hold on my library app as well as the third one. Hopefully for my birthday, maybe this year, which is coming up in November, I will get like the full set and then I won't have to worry about putting them on hold in the library. I will catch up with you guys when I pick up this book next. So it is the next day. I went to the dentist earlier and half my mouth is numb, so please ignore that. But I wanted to give you guys a little update of where I'm at. I just hit 38%. I'm on page 170. And there's a couple different stories like in this novella. I think I'm on the third one now where she is like away at this assassin's training facility. It is a little slow, but I feel like it's giving good background to Selena's character and how she was trained. And she also talks about her love interest, which she mentions in the first Throne of Glass book. I know one of my friends told me she's read all of the Throne of Glass books, that a lot of people have a hard time like getting through this prequel, which is why I'm glad I'm reading it first. So I'm hoping that I can get past 50% today. I have nothing to do tonight after work, so I'm just gonna like read my life away and I will keep you guys updated. Between them. I just finished reading, what is this? The Assassin's Blade. I can't think right now. I would be lying to you guys if I said my eyes didn't start to well up with tears as I was reading the last 100 pages of this book. Like, I knew what was gonna happen because I've already read the first book in the series, but I'm really glad that I read this first because I just have so much empathy for Selena's character now, like reading about everything that happens before and like seeing her journey and the different like relationships that she had. I would say the pacing of this was slower than I would have liked. Like, I thought I was feeling a book slump coming on, which was really worrying me. But again, the last like 100 to 75 pages of this, I just didn't want to stop. It's set up as like 4 different novellas in one book. So like she walks you through step by step of like the journey that leads up to where the first Throne of Glass book starts. And I'm really glad, like I just said, that I read it first because not only do I have more empathy for her, but I think it would have been really hard for me to like read the first 3 books and then go back and read this one, given I don't know like what happens in book 2 and 3 because obviously I haven't read them yet. I think Bestie Destiny was right. Like, it's definitely, as I continue on with the series, going to impact me so much harder because like I know what happens. I will say some things I didn't like about this was, one, that the pacing was a little slow, and 2, like the romance that's in here, they just kind of like throw you into it. They kind of briefly touch upon like the childhood friends thing, but it just kind of came like out of nowhere. As it developed, I was like, yes, like I'm enjoying the banter between the 2 of them, but I just feel like I didn't get enough like background between like her and her love interest. She's a very bad A main character, which like I really enjoyed reading about, and I know I'm going to enjoy reading about that as I like continue on with the series. And I will say, I did not mention the rating for this book. I'm going to keep it to the end of the video, so you guys are going to have to watch the whole thing if you want to know like my whole thoughts on it. But it was really good, and I'm really glad that I finally read it, and I'm excited to continue on with the series. The second book I'm going to read for this video is called The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. The author is Axio. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but I actually found this on my Goodreads TBRs I was going through yesterday, and it sounded really good because I've been like in the mood to read like very magical books. So it's still a fantasy, it's just we're kind of stepping away from like the fighting and the violence and the fae. This is more about spirit realms, princes, princesses. Let's get into it. I just woke up and I can't stop thinking about this book. I stayed up until 11:30 last night reading, and I'm like 38% in. So I wanted to give you guys an update. Oh my god, my hair is so greasy. It's so bad. Please ignore that. So basically, this book, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, you start reading and it throws you into the like the plot and the action. And I'm just like obsessed with the world. I'm still trying to figure it out because this is like a mythical retelling. Basically, it's about our main character, Mina. The town that she lives in worships this god called the sea god, and every year a storm comes to their village and they sacrifice a girl. They throw her into the sea to become the sea god's bride, and that's supposed to like hold back the storms for a whole year, and then like the next year and whatever. They've been doing it for like 100 years, I think. Her brother June, he falls for the girl who's like gonna be sacrificed that year. He like follows her onto the ship, and she like sees him follow her, so she goes herself, and basically she ends up sacrificing herself, and she gets thrown into the sea. It's really cool because like when that whole part happened, there's like a mythical dragon, and I was like having the Fourth Wing flashbacks. But it's really good. She like gets thrown into the sea and is like in the spirit realm, which is where the sea god and all of the like lesser gods live, and the high lords and everything. And she ends up meeting this high lord and this assassin. She basically finds out that the sea god is asleep and he's like under this curse, and she is just trying to figure out how to break that using the help of the high lord and the assassin and this other guy. I don't remember his name. Some of the names in here are really hard to pronounce. It just like captivated my attention right from the beginning, and the writing is really good. Like, I'm obsessed with the world. It's so fun and magical. The High Lord in here really reminds me of the character Jax from Once Upon a Broken Heart. It's the first thing I thought about when I woke up this morning, so I was like, I have to update you guys. I'm on chapter 13, page 118. I just finished The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, and it was absolutely incredible. I don't have words right now. It was definitely like exceeded my expectations. I saw someone write on their Amazon review that it's a tale about magic and love. That perfectly encapsulates how I feel about this book. I did not want to put it down. There was not a second where I like wasn't invested into the story and like attached to the characters. I wanted to like know what was gonna happen. There were a couple like twists in there I didn't see coming. Some of the character relationships I did guess, but I love the different characters. I loved the world. It was incredible to read about, like the creativity and the imagination of this author. The entire book is based off of the classic Korean folktale, The Tale of Shimcheong. I don't know a lot about Asian literature, but like this was phenomenally written. Like the writing in itself was beautiful. I loved the message. I'm just like really happy right now because I love when I like go into a book not really knowing what it's about or like how I'm gonna feel about it, because it's just so different than anything that I would like normally go for, and then you end up loving it. It's just like the best feeling. You guys need to go read this. Like it was absolutely incredible. I also love the cover art. It's so beautiful, and the romance in here was so sweet and just like heartwarming and heartbreaking at the same time. Like my heart. Do you guys know the emoji where it's like it's the smiley face, but it's like the tear that comes down? Like that's literally how I feel right now. Good morning, you guys. It is the next day and I am sitting here trying to figure out what the last book for this reading vlog is going to be. Usually I like to do 3 books because I feel like that's like a good amount for a vlog. I genuinely think that The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea broke me. Like this is the way I felt after reading the 4th one. Like I just could not stop thinking about it, and like I just felt like nothing else was gonna like live up to the expectation of that book, and that is how I feel right now. Like I've just been looking and looking and looking through like all different sorts of fantasy books on my Goodreads, and nothing is tickling my fancy. So I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I guess I will update you guys when I figure out what I'm gonna read next. I feel like this is a problem of like being a mood reader. I can't just like pick up another book and like go for it. I need to be in the right mind space to start a book. If you know, you know. It has been a full day since I updated you. Last I picked up the camera was this morning and I had no idea what I was gonna read next. I decided to give The Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lin Tan, my Kindle's over there, I'm looking at it, a chance. And I'm still in the mood where I'm like, I don't know what I want to read. And I just watched a Sarah Crowley video and she was just raving. It's the video where she tries to find a 5-star read. She's just raving about the Powerless book. I don't remember what the author's name is. And she kind of made me want to pick that up because The Daughter of the Moon Goddess is another like Asian folklore based book, which is very similar to The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. It was the only book that was like really drawing me in, maybe because it was so similar to the other one I just read and like I'm still not over. But I don't know if I need something a little bit different or if I should continue with it. I'm only like 13% in. I might see if Powerless is on Kindle Unlimited and like read a little bit of that and see if it catches my attention. I'm still feeling indecisive at this point. I literally just laid down and opened this up on my Kindle and it doesn't come out till November. I see Sarah, what? Good morning. I have been reading this morning. I am about 40% in on page 180. Chapter 15 currently. I've just been trying to binge read this book because I want to finish it and I want to finish this video, but I'm still like not feeling like super attached to it. Honestly, the pacing is on the slower side. A lot has actually happened, which makes me confused because I'm only 40% into the book. I'm gonna keep reading and I will update you guys as I kind of go along through that. But I never told you what it was about and I've already tried to explain this a few times, so I'm just gonna read the Goodreads description so you guys have a general idea. Basically, it says, growing up on the moon, Shinjin is accustomed to solitude, unaware that she is being hidden from the feared celestial emperor who exiled her mother for stealing his elixir of immortality. But when Shinjin's magic flares and her existence is discovered, she's forced to flee her home, leaving her mother behind. Alone, powerless, and afraid, she makes her way to the celestial kingdom, a land of wonder and secrets. Disguising her identity, she seizes an opportunity to learn alongside the emperor's son, mastering archery and magic even as passion flames between her and and the prince. To save her mother, Shinjin embarks on a perilous quest, confronting legendary creatures and vicious enemies across the earth and skies. That's kind of the part I'm at now. Like, she trained with the prince and now she's kind of off on her own doing her own thing because there's a couple different things that happen. But anyways, when treachery looms and forbidden magic threatens the kingdom, she must challenge the ruthless celestial emperor for her dream, striking a dangerous bargain in which she's torn between losing all she loves or plunging the realm into chaos. So basically this is similar to The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea because again it's like Chinese mythology. Her mom is like the Chinese moon goddess. I guess this is also a duology and it has a 4.14 star rating on Goodreads. So a lot of people have a lot of good things to say about it. But me personally, I don't know if I'm like really connecting with the story that much. And hopefully things are going to start picking up since I'm around 40%. But it was just a lot of her internal monologue and dealing with the fact that she like had to leave her mom and basically settle in this new place where she doesn't know anybody or know anything. And basically kind of discover who she is in like the celestial kingdom versus like who she was on the moon, and she grows up a lot in that process. I am curious to see how the rest of the story is going to go and how all her adventures are going to start, but she's about to start her first like task where she's working for the army and stuff. I don't know how much I will update you guys as I continue to read. If like something crazy happens, I'll probably mention it, but I don't know. I might just kind of read and update you guys after I finish it because I really want to get this video done today.
Almost destroyed everything we hold most dear.
Hi guys, it is the next day and Miss Kemper is with me. You guys can't really see her, but it's just started to thunder and she doesn't like that, so she's here for us to end off this video because I finally finished Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I literally binged this. Oh my gosh, I need to fix this. I literally binged this yesterday. I think the last thing I filmed was when we were watching Harry Potter and I had my headphones on and I was reading. But I stayed up to finish this book last night. I didn't go to bed till like 1 a.m. because I just really wanted to finish it. And surprisingly, it picked up around the 200-page mark, and after that, like so much stuff happened. There is enough content in this book for probably 2 books. I was genuinely surprised as I kept reading. I was like, oh my gosh, this is how it's gonna end. Like there's a cliffhanger. And then there was another chapter and I was like, oh, okay, like we're going and the plot keeps giving. Like, okay, we're doing this. And there is also a second book. I believe it's called something like the Sun Goddess. It's a duology, so I'm very intrigued about the second book. I don't know if I'm gonna read it, but I decided, coming out with my rating, I decided to give this 4.5 stars. Very heavy on the magic. This fantasy was more political than the last one that I read. Honestly, out of all the fantasies I read in this video, this one was very, very heavy on the politics. There's high stakes, sword fighting, dragons. All the magic was really cool to read about because you have the humans and then you have the immortal realm because the main character, she is an immortal. And speaking of her, she is like a bad A female main character. Like I just was rooting for her the entire time. She has gone through so much in this book. She had so much character development and I was really proud of her, but just everything that she had gone through between like her love interest, there was like a love triangle situation going on, and then her just like desperately trying to free her mother and doing everything in her power to like get there. Everything just like was not going her way. Everyone was making things like so much harder for her and I was like really feeling for her. I just rooted for her the whole time and wanted to like see her achieve what, you know, she wanted to. And I have to say I was very satisfied with the ending, which again like makes me intrigued to read book number 2 because the author did a good job at like tying everything up at the end, which I feel like normally doesn't happen in fantasy books. Usually there's like a major cliffhanger on the end and then you're like, oh my gosh, I need book 2. But it was very action-packed. There was a plot twist in here that I did not see coming at all. I was like genuinely shocked when that like happened. So moving into a little wrap up for this video, I read 3 books, and again, I didn't say my ratings as I went along, so we're gonna do that right now. The first book that I read for this video was The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas, which is the prequel to the Throne of Glass series. Again, there are like a couple different reading orders that you can read the series in, but I just decided to read it first because it's the prequel, and I've already read the first Throne of Glass book, so I had a general idea of like what was going on, and I knew some of the characters, and I decided to rate that at 3.75 stars, I think. Let me double check that. I probably should have pulled that up first. Yes, I rated this 3.75 stars. I know, like I said, like a lot of people have a lot of different thoughts on this prequel because it was written later, but I did really enjoy getting to know Selena's character better, and I just developed so much empathy for her, which I think is just going to make the rest of the books impact me emotionally like so much stronger because I already, you know her past relationships and where she's kind of come from, and I'm excited to see how her character is going to continue to develop as I read the rest of the books. The pacing was slower, but the last 75 pages really like dragged me in because it was just like back to back to back action and like so much was happening, and my heart was just like coming out of my chest because if you guys have already like read the series or you've read some of the books and not the prequel yet, you like kind of have an idea of like what happens in her life before, and because I had already like known a few things, my heart, I was just like waiting for the hat to drop and I was just unwell. So it was really good, but not my favorite book for this video. Moving into the second book that I read for this video, I read The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axie O, and if you have not guessed it already, that was the 5-star read for this video. I absolutely loved it, and like I said, it had been on my TBR for a really long time, and I just kind of was like, this is what I'm gonna read, it sounds cool, and I'm so glad that I did because it just like had me feeling all of the feels. I loved the world, I loved the romance that was in here, and it is a standalone novel, which is really fun because I feel like a lot of fantasy books are series, and it's really nice to just like read a standalone book and have the chapter or the doors closed and just appreciate it for what it was. I did end up ordering a hardcover of that book off of Amazon because the UK cover is absolutely gorgeous. If I have not already put an image up on the screen for you guys to see, I will, and I'm so excited for it to come, but it's gonna take a few weeks because obviously it's coming from not America. It was so magical, so whimsical. If you guys enjoyed reading Once Upon a Broken Heart, I think, even though this one was like a Chinese mythology as well as The Daughter of the Moon Goddess, they're both mythological fantasy books. There was a lot of like fairy tale aspects in this, which I really loved. And again, I loved the world so much. I actually cried at one point just because like the story was so heartfelt. It wasn't that it was sad. I was just like finding myself feeling just like emotional, you know what I mean? And I just didn't want to put it down. I was completely like immersed into the story, and that's what I love about reading certain books, especially ones that you rate like 5-6 stars, or they're just like your comfort books. They really help you to just like escape your life and just be present and focus and, you know, become a member of this new world, get invested into these characters. That is what that book was for me, and I would just like highly recommend that you guys end up checking it out if it sounds interesting to you. And I have to say, out of all of the books that I read in this video, all of them were pretty clean, like very low on the steam level. There was nothing that I read in any of these books that was inappropriate at all. So if you guys are looking for like a cleaner fantasy books, definitely recommend you read any of the ones that I read in this video. I was genuinely surprised. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this reading vlog. Thank you so much if you have made it this far. Definitely let me know if you guys have any recommendations for me in the comments down below. But I appreciate you guys so much. I hope that you are having a great day wherever you are, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys!